Hey, fifth grade digital learners. I forgot to turn my video on when I was filming this or when I was talking about it in class. So I'm making a quick little, let's see here, quick little video to help you out with this. So this was kind of like the screenshot that we had on our board as we went through our class, and we talked about every single one of these words and excuse me, and which words would work for Charlotte. So we talked about, was she adaptable? Well, yeah, she was, because she had to live in the orphanage and she also had to live with boys and she had to do what she was told. Was she adventurous? Yes. Was she agreeable? You know what? We debated a little bit on that one. It may seem like she was agreeable, but I think that she caused a lot of problems. Was she amusing? We didn't really see much in there. That means somebody that makes you laugh, somebody that makes you kind of chuckle, but we didn't see that. Is she bright? We talked about, well, she's coming up with a plan to get out of there, so we thought she's bright. Is she brave? That's definitely one. Is she bratty? Well, it doesn't seem like it. She kind of follows the rules. Yes, she gets mouthy to William when she's talking to him, but she didn't really seem bratty. Is she calm? No, that really isn't a very good character trait that would describe her. What about carefree, confident, contrary? So we went through every one of these and we kind of just made a list in class of which ones were positive, which ones we could put with her. And we found about 30 of them that we could do. So all you really had to do was pick 10, and then we'll come back to this at some time to kind of pick the best 5. But we can't make that character trait determination right now because we haven't read enough of the book to know her. So after we did that, then we looked at the pros and the cons that we came up with. And this is a worksheet that you had assigned to you, I think, last Friday, to list, and it was on page 36 and 37, the pros and the cons of running away. There's a lot more pros than there are cons, and that's because she's living in a bad situation. So we had a lot of them listed, and then we wrote this paragraph down here at the bottom. I helped the kids begin to write it in a paragraph that is a very full paragraph. We need to get away from doing 1, 2, 3 quick answers. We need to write and describe and explain. So how we did that was by starting with something called race to response. So I posed the question, why didn't Charlotte get adopted? And it says to restate the question. Now I'm going to try and write on this if it will let me insert. Oh, it might not let me be. Oh, yep, it will insert. Okay, I'm just going to put a text box so that I can type in here. So it says restate the question. And when it really, what we want you to do is go back and say the reason. You take out the what, the why, the where, the beginning words up there, and you say the reason that Charlotte did not get adopted was because Mrs. Boyle made sure it didn't happen. Sure, it didn't happen. So, oops, I put that in the wrong spot. The reason, okay, sorry. There, copy. That's going to go down here. So really, what we do up here is we restate the question, we kind of leave it at because. We restate it. The reason that Charlotte did not get adopted was because. And now down here is where I'm going to put that next text box. Find my text box. And I can paste it because I did that. Mrs. Boyle made sure it didn't happen. That was one of the reasons. Now, when you get down here to cite evidence, what we're learning to do is go back in the book and prove it. So the kids went back into the book and they were able to find the area where it said that she was hid in the potato bin and Miss Boyle sat on top of it. So we put, and I don't remember what page that is, let's say on page 9, it says Miss Boyle hid Charlotte in a potato bin and sat on top of it. So that was one reason she couldn't get adopted. Then we get down here in the E, the explain or the extend is just to say anything to kind of wrap it up, kind of pull it back together. So as you can see, Charlotte didn't get adopted because Miss Boyles did not want her to get adopted. So that's what we are going to start working on, is writing with a race in mind. So then what we do next is we went to our packets, and our packets were right here. So you will be getting this page, and it says, explain how Charlotte feels about William. Use information from the text to support your answer. So I'm going to grab this, and we're going to start up here with our R, and then our A, our C, and our C is the one that usually takes the longest to get filled out and takes the longest amount of space. So I leave 3 lines for that. Right, now I'm going to get into type. So it says, explain how Charlotte feels about William. It does not ask us a question, but we still want to take that statement and turn it into like the first sentence of our paragraph. Charlotte feels like William is a pain. Okay. And I'm going to stop right there because I want to come down here now and I want to write more answers. He is smart Alec to her. Smart Alec, and I don't know how to spell Alec, so for that, it's not in there, so I'm just going to leave it. He is smart Alec to her, and she doesn't take any of his lip. Now, the next part, I get down here to this C, and I have to write that. I have to find, where did I find that in the book? And I'm not sure where it's at, but I'm going to do this anyway. On page 34, and I'm going to put a comma because that's a prepositional phrase. On page 34. On page 34, William asks Charlotte about the race, and Charlotte gets mouthy with him. Then, oh my goodness, then a couple of pages later, Hayward says that someone got adopted, and Charlotte says, quote, I hope it is William. Okay, now I'm gonna, so that's my C. So I've got my RAC done, and I'm gonna get down here, and that's kind of where I'm wrapping it up. It's extend it, explain it, whatever you want to do, but you're kind of wrapping it up down here. So Charlotte is not fond of William, and she is able to say what is on her mind to him. There you go. So what I've done is, if I were to pull this all together, I now have a paragraph long answer instead of just saying she doesn't like him, because that's what kids do when we're learning how to answer questions. But now we're learning how to respond to a text, how to make our answers a lot deeper. So your goal or your assignment today is to do the RACE with this one down here. You have to have the R, the A, the C, and the E. Now, when you go into the C, you have to find a place in the book that supports your evidence. It's kind of like you're being a detective. So anything that you say to me, I'm going to say, prove it. And you have to be able to prove it by going back into the book. So that is what you're going to do today. And then we will do chapter 2 tomorrow. Hey guys, have a great Monday.